We were the anonymous people on the other side of the phone that people who were in need of help could call, vent about relationships, exam stress, loneliness, anything they could think of. We would be on the other side just to listen and just help guide them in the right direction.
Amazing. 57% of young adults say that they often/always feel lonely, also in like large social crowds. Why do you think the younger generation is struggling with this topic of loneliness so much?
It's a great question.
It's a big question. Yeah.
It's a big question. So feel free to jump in whenever.
Yeah. You've been to South Africa.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah. It is correct. Yes.
Like while you were there or once you got back, did you think like, but this is this one thing I want to bring to the Netherlands?
Their mental health specifically is not, it's very different.
How is it different? Join us for a heartfelt conversation with Komay Nguyen, a psychologist and mental health advocate currently working as a recruiter. With World Mental Health Day just having passed, we want to dive into the discussion of why mental health issues are still on the rise, Komay's work with AllEars, providing open ears to university students, and what workplaces can do to better support well-being. Let's care about mental health in our noisy world. Welcome to the Neurolympics podcast, brought to you by BrainsFirst, the company that helps you make better talent decisions powered by neuroscience. I'm Lucy, I'm the host of the Neurolympics podcast, and I myself have a background in psychology and applied neuroscience. But let me turn to my guest today. A very warm welcome, Komay.
Thank you.
So nice to have you on the podcast.
Nice to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Of course. And let's just start with the very big question, like straight going into it.
Okay.
Why do you think that mental health issues are still on the rise?
There's a lot of factors that contribute to the rise of mental health discussions and also negative mental health, etc. I think a big one, and I think a lot of people say this, is inevitably social media and how often we're on our phones, screen time, etc. And I think even if you go on your phone, there's always those people who talk about mental health, what you can do to cope, what you should look out for, how to prevent burnout, how to not be stressed. So many feeds and different types of content you just continuously take in, which I think can be good in a way because it increases awareness. It gives vocabulary that wasn't there before. It makes people talk about it out loud, which is super. And I think that's definitely a positive thing. But on the other hand, I think, you know, the more you talk about things, the more it stays in your head, the more you ruminate, the more you think about it, and maybe even the more you align yourself to certain symptoms and you believe you have something because it's just talked about so often and all that. So I think there are two sides to look at.
Yeah, I totally agree. I feel like it's both ways. Like on the one hand, as you say, like the awareness is great, but on the other hand, it can also be a bit overwhelming.
Yes.
And in general, I think that the information flow that we're being that we have to process is just, or we are confronted with, is just too much. Like our evolutionarily, our brains were not wired to take in as much information as we have to at the moment. Like it also makes me think about a study topic we had during the studies in psychology, where we spoke about how many pieces of information we can actually keep in our working memory. So what's readily available in the brain to kind of juggle at the moment and to work with these information. And back in the days, they said 5 to 7 pieces of information. Like now, more recent research shows like 3 to 5, which is actually not that much. And it's like when we think about it, I mean, we have notifications there, we have stimuli there, so much that we have to deal with at the same time that we're just like, our brains are not made to cope with this.
No. And it's interesting. The number has gone down from 5 to 7 to now 3 to 4. And I think, I mean, if you're on your phone, on Instagram, TikTok, and you have these short, tiny videos and you just scroll, then of course the attention span is going to decrease. I think I have people that I know who can't watch a show without being on their phone at the same time. It's very interesting. Like, you just need to be stimulated all the time because we're just so used to it now.
Yes.
Also, that can also be a sort of avoidance behavior. Like, say you're not feeling so great and you've been down recently. A great coping mechanism is to go on your phone, go on social media, and just overload your brain so much so you're not thinking about why you're down that day or what you're upset about. You're just watching funny, happy videos all day long.
Ooh, I like this perspective because it's in the end not helping, because what the brain needs, I think, is to shut down and not be stimulated.
Process things.
So you can process and sometimes, well, it's also, you also have to process negative experiences and all of that. And you need time off from anything, like going on a walk or sitting in the train, just looking outside. And we barely do that. It's not really, we're not allowing our brains to enter the state of like mind wandering, where we can just drift away and let the brain do its magic and connect associations of information and basically process the information. And I think another big point of us being just like constantly on is that our sleep quality has declined. Like, I've recently read a book on it, and I just forgot the name now, or maybe it comes back later, then I'll of course give a shout out. But it's from a sleep researcher, and he says that I think on average we sleep like 1 or 1.5 hours less than decades ago. And also our children are getting less sleep, and we're sleeping in a wrong way. Like having the phones next to us, being on the laptop just before we sleep, and being exposed by this bright light, and it's all not helping.
No, it's really not. And I feel like we all know that, but we're still doing it anyways. I know I shouldn't be up until the minute I fall asleep or close my eyes. Just a minute ago, I was on my phone, for example. That shouldn't be the case. And we should definitely be trying to get less screen time in. But if you're at work, you're on a laptop or on a monitor, then you're watching something on your tablet and then on your phone. It's just impossible to get away nowadays. You just really have to detox to fully
unwind.
Unwind and bye.
Yeah.
But I think we should definitely, sleep quality is super important. It helps your brain reset for the next day. It helps your sleep quality is super important to also help process things the next day and just function like a fully normal human being.
Yeah.
And just also physical health as well. Sleep is super important. And if you're doing things that are detrimental to that, then obviously you're going to be less okay the next day. And therefore, there's a lot of correlation between if you're feeling physically bad, then you probably stay inside a bit more. You're kind of in bed, you're a bit isolated, and that can kind of also instigate like some negative thoughts. You're alone with your thoughts, and that kind of perpetuates a cycle of you also wanting to stay home more. You're feeling bad, blah, blah, blah. So it's a never-ending cycle. You just have to try and break it.
True. It's a loop. It's a loop. Yeah. No, I think you're 100% right. And how about like, how did you decide, or why did you become a psychologist? What's your personal story?
There was never like a moment where something happened to me and I was like, oh, I need to know why this happened to me and why I reacted the way. I think I genuinely am very interested in people. I think if I look at myself and the life events that shaped me to the person I am today, like who I am now is not who I was 3 years ago, 5 years ago, and all that. Everyone has their own story in the same way. Everyone has so many life events that affected them, and the way they are is because of the way they were raised, genetic factors, life factors. There's so many things that shape a human being, and I find that super interesting, to be honest. And I like speaking to people and understanding, where they come from, what they're looking for, who they want to be. And I think I'm just a people-oriented person. So I think what I was like when I was younger, thinking about what I wanted to go towards in my future. I'm still trying to find that, to be honest, but
It's okay. It's a journey.
It's a journey, is what I tell myself. But I definitely want to be surrounded by people, working with people. And psychology is a great way to understand the brain a bit, why people act the way they do, and how I can apply that to practical stuff in life too.
Nice.
Yeah.
I can completely relate. I think I share that passion and that curiosity with you.
Yeah.
That's nice to hear.
Good.
And how come, I would love to speak about the initiative you were a part of for, I think, 4 years, right? It's called AllEars, and it's an initiative started at the University of Amsterdam.
Yes.
But what is AllEars about, and how come that you joined this initiative?
So AllEars was, because we're no longer, but I'll get into that in a bit. But it is a student-led organization for students. And what that means is that we were formed around 4 years ago, right at the beginning of COVID. We were founded by 2 psychology students, Aylin and Miro. They were both also psychology students, and they noticed that there was a gap, especially with COVID happening. There was a gap between students and just people who could listen on the other side, who weren't necessarily psychologists, because sometimes we just only need a listening ear, can kind of help guide us in the right direction instead of a full-on psychologist to help deal with more serious issues. Yeah. So they noticed this gap and kind of spread the word amongst their cohort and people that they knew, me included. And I think at the beginning, there were maybe 15 or 20 of us brought on to be the listeners. And we were the anonymous people on the other side of the phone that people who were in need of help could call, vent about relationships, exam stress, loneliness, anything they could think of. We would be on the other side just to listen and just help guide them in the right direction.
Amazing.
Yeah. So conceptually, it's a great idea, I think, just because I don't think people have really thought about that gap, in that there are people who out there who just struggle with daily things. And it's nice, of course, to talk to your friends because they're kind of on the ground with you, so to speak. But sometimes you just need also like an objective point of view, someone just like from the outside kind of just helping you along the way, instead of someone who's like a friend who could be a bit more emotional just because they're also involved, for example, or kind of that. So I think it's a great initiative. And that's kind of how it started. And throughout the years, it's definitely grown. I think up until we closed, we had around 35, 40 volunteers because we'd have shifts.
Amazing.
And and we were open a lot longer nowadays. We were open a lot longer, whereas in the beginning, it was only maybe a couple days a week. But up until we closed, it was every single day, longer hours on the weekdays and shorter hours on the weekends, because we felt it was super important to provide more regular support to people who needed it.
Yeah.
And I think the team grew bigger, the dream grew bigger as well. Like we wanted to collaborate with other people, hold workshops, and we did manage to do all those things. But so I think while it was running, it was super great, and I think it did really make an impact. For sure.
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
And how come that you said, okay, I want to join AllEars, or what's your story behind it?
Well, I knew Miro and Aylin personally, like they were friends of mine, so that was a hand in it. But also aside from getting practical, real experience outside of university, where you do role plays, as you remember maybe.
I do.
Yeah.
Great times.
Good times. Doing role play in class.
I miss them.
So you would have like, first of all, the practical experience that, you could put on a CV, and also when you apply for jobs, say that you have this real life experience, and also the aspect of, I really saw the value in the initiative. And as someone who went through COVID, as everyone else did, I could really see that people needed just someone on the other side, and I wanted to help bridge that gap together.
That's amazing, because what would you say, like, what were the most pressing issues or topics that students would want to speak about with you?
Loneliness was a big one, especially during COVID. Loneliness was a big one. And in that kind of isolation, I think everyone was at home a lot alone with themselves, with their thoughts, or forced to go home, So that was a very big one. Another big one, I think, very student-like, is exam stress. A lot of calls and contacts about, if I fail, then I have to retake the course. I have to repeat, etc., etc. So that was a very often one, typical one, and a lot of relationship questions as well, about with partners, family, friends, how to navigate those relationships. So very, I think very daily. I think that everyone has and experiences these kind of, like
ups and downs.
Yeah, ups and downs, exactly. And it's just nice hopefully for people to be able just to vent. People could just sometimes call and we would ask them, what do you want out of this conversation? Do you want us, and how we normally phrase it is, do you want us to help you find a solution to the problem, or do you just want us to sit back and just nod, be like, oh yeah, and then they could answer. And sometimes it was the latter, so they would just vent and then just be like, oh, that was super helpful, thank you, bye.
Amazing.
And,
quick fix.
Yeah. And sometimes it's nice just to let off some steam, So
yeah.
Either way,
it's sometimes a simple thing. I feel like many people are just seeking it. It was also a special time with COVID, of course, but I think we see the after effects for sure.
Yeah.
I think sometimes people just need a listening ear. It's not even a big deal. Sometimes it's a bigger deal, but sometimes it just can be like a 15, 20-minute talk.
Yeah.
You can just openly say your things without any judgment, without any evaluation. And you just feel like someone is listening to you. I think we're underestimating this impact of what that can bring to people, to young adults.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And I think maybe like when we were trying to find funding for the organization, we tried to really hone in on that underestimation part. So I think I totally agree with you. Listening is really underrated nowadays, and just even the small things make such a huge difference. But when it comes to the UBA, they don't really maybe think about it like that. They think about how many people are calling, what kinds of issues are they calling about, are you actually getting the numbers, are you actually making a difference? So they're a bit more practical, which I also understand, because if we're asking them for funding, they need to have sort of probable clause to help us.
Sure.
But it's a bit harder to explain when you're on the ground actually helping these people, and then when you're up there with the UVA kind of looking at it from a different point of view. So it's hard to bridge that gap and kind of convince them that, maybe we don't have 50, 60 people calling us per week, but the 15 to 20 people who do, we at least help. But
for sure,
it's sometimes not enough, unfortunately. And so that's where we kind of struggled a bit.
I see. In the end, it's a business idea also that's kind of standing behind it, which unfortunately makes it difficult because, it's everyone has a story, and everyone who's calling, I'm sure had a reason to call, and it's just a great initiative. And I want to get back to the topic of loneliness, because I find it quite interesting. You said now a lot of students called because they did feel lonely. It was also during COVID, but I read a recent statistic from the European Union that 57% of young adults say that they often / always feel lonely, also in like large social crowds. Yeah. And I was wondering what your take is on that. Why do you think especially the younger generation is struggling with this topic of loneliness so much?
It's a great question.
It's a big question.
It's a big question. So feel free to jump in whenever.
Yeah, of course.
I think the opposite of loneliness is kind of feeling connected, I think, and finding someone who understands you, can relate to you emotionally, in life. And I think if people are feeling lonely, it's often because they don't have, even in a big circle, maybe not necessarily everyone who truly gets you, doesn't understand your humor, doesn't know why you do what you do, doesn't know why you like that hobby, etc. So I think
Yeah.
they're feeling that lack of connection is kind of my take on it.
Yeah.
I think I've been in large groups as well. It's not necessarily that I was lonely, but I knew that maybe it wasn't my crowd, or it's nice at a party just to small talk, but it's not necessarily that I would tell you about my biggest secret, for example. So I think it's normal to feel lonely. I don't think you should always feel connected. It's nice to also be with yourself and with your mind. But when it becomes chronic or much more continuous than it should be, then that can be an issue for sure. So I think the lack of connection is very important and telling for that.
This deep connection, yeah. No, I totally agree. And when I think about it, I think we also value, like in this digital time we're in, we value these, or we think we are connected, but we're not really.
Yeah.
I like this. Like you say, we're lacking connection, and probably on a surface level, we would say, well, we're in the most connected age ever.
Yeah.
The 21st century, we're all connected, but we're not.
No.
Because ultimately, this, especially digital connection, doesn't bring community.
No.
And I think that's one of the biggest issues. Like it doesn't bring us further together in terms of we're having more quality time.
Yeah.
We're having more of these one-on-ones, these deep talks, like connectivity, digital connectivity is ultimately not community. And I think what happens when we have these community time or quality time, as we might want to say, this is a time when sometimes just enough to be with each other and experience things together.
Like connection, or so much connection nowadays. Like I think it's quality versus quantity, and we're so much more connected nowadays. Like I can talk to someone in the US, in France. Like it enables so much. I do agree, but I think because now there's so many possibilities, you just lack now the commitment to go deep because you just have so many things at your disposal now.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Yeah,
because we're becoming more of these watchers. We're not talkers that much anymore, like speakers. And that's what's happening with AllEars, for example. People can talk out and speak out things. But if we increase this watching time, we're not like talking to anyone or speaking out. And that's what creates deep connection. That's what helps us to process these information. Like we're taking more in that we're getting out, I think.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think like nowadays, I think the internet can help with finding words. I think we talked about at the very beginning, like it's now giving the words to things we've been feeling but didn't know what we're feeling. Like in the past, they didn't have a word for burnout, but now it's a very normal term and people use it even to take leave from work nowadays. So I think it's a great thing. Like the connection allows people to share their stories as well, so you can feel related to people. Like on Instagram, TikTok, you can have people like, oh, I went through a burnout, or I had a severe depression and here's what I did. So I think in a way people can try to find connection to those videos. Yeah. But it cannot be a passive thing. I think, yes, of course, you can watch it, but then the mistake is you just keep watching these videos and don't really do much about it. And I think that's where it can get dangerous almost. You're just always on your phone and you're like, oh, I'm watching all these videos on mental health, but like, okay, great. Now,
first of all, great.
Great, 100%. Like the awareness is there and you have the words, you know kind of what you should do, what could work for you, but now what are the steps that you're going to take to help yourself?
I like this passive versus active perspective that you're bringing in.
Yeah.
Do you have some, or a tip or a life hack for self-care or well-being that you would like to share?
Some I'm trying to implement to myself in my daily life. I think I think I'm going to try to explain like what I'm learning myself and what I'm trying to teach myself is that I think a lot of people think of mental health or negative mental health as a way to fix it and to get from point A to B, and B being feeling great, happy, content all the time. And of course, that is something we should strive to. I think it's never good to be always chronically sad all the time and feeling down. But I think it's definitely normal and okay to have those low moments. They also can show you how great the good moments can be. So I think you should feel fine and be okay with not feeling okay all the time. And I've always tried as a young professional starting out in her career, and I started a new job a few years ago and just finished my studies. It's a very tumultuous time, you're like, oh my God,
All's happening.
What's happening? New friends, new job. Oh my God. Like it's a lot, especially in your 20s. And I mean, every decade has their own stuff, sure. But I think a lot of people can agree this is during the 20s, like it's just very confusing. Things are very uncertain, and that can cause a lot of negativity. And I think it's okay. I'm trying to say that to myself, it's okay, Komay. Just take it one day at a time.
Even right.
It's okay, Komay. So it's my mantra now. Take it one step at a time and do what you can for the day, but don't settle. I also have a repeating thing like, I just want to take care of myself. It's so nice to be in bed. But Komay, you've been in bed for the past 5 days now. So let's now get up and
it's now enough.
Yeah, now you should love yourself, of course, but also push yourself to do things that make you feel happy, where in the end it'll pay off. Like getting out of bed, going for that walk, for example. Yeah. But I'm saying all these things, but I'm also trying to implement them myself and make it a routine to just be okay with not being okay, and also pushing myself a little bit more.
Yeah. I like this. It's like twofold, because I think what you mentioned before, we have this access to all these inputs, and it's great, but it's also great to tell ourselves it's okay to be vulnerable, not feel okay, and it's not that we have to fix it always in the moment. It actually reminds me of one of my best friends, shout out to you, Milena, who took a emotion course at the UvA. And one time when I felt very heartbroken, she said, Lucy, you're always trying to like get out of your emotions like super quickly, but you are an emotional being, and it's okay to just actually be in that emotion that you're feeling at the moment, and don't try to push yourself too hard to like get out of
fix it.
Fix it, because sometimes we just have to endure it, and it's painful and we don't like it. But it can also be like an avoidance or running away mechanism if we always try to like, no, I don't want to feel this pain now, or so I just had to think about it, but then at the same time becoming active when it's needed.
When it's needed. You can't that's when it becomes like a routine, and that's when that's how it becomes chronic, because you just develop a pattern, and it's super hard. We're habitual people, or habitual animals. Like when we find a routine that we are very comfortable in, it's going to be very hard to break out of that. Yeah. And honestly, this situation reminded me of, have you seen Inside Out?
I have, I have.
Exactly like that. I love that movie. And it's just, you don't need to be happy all the time. And of course, it's nice. It's a great emotion to have and to feel. And we should be spreading that kindness and positivity a lot more, to be honest. But I think it's okay to be sad. Have a cry.
Yeah, feel better after. I love this. Have a cry. I want to say it a second
just scream into a pillow. I think sometimes we just need to go to the beach and just,
go to the city center.
or anywhere. I mean, people will be around you, but it's okay.
Yeah. No, it is okay. Yeah. I love this. You have been, actually, we never spoke about this, but I saw it on your LinkedIn.
Oh, you did some investigating.
Yeah, I did exactly. I did my work up front. And well, I think it's at least on your LinkedIn, you've been to South Africa.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
It is correct. Yes.
So what kind of work did you do there?
I love talking about my time there. Because it was such a rewarding and eye-opening experience. So I was there 2 years ago for an internship, a clinical internship for psychology. And I and a few other people in my cohort went to a tiny little farming town called Groblersdal. Groblersdal. Shout out to Groblersdal. It's such a very, very small town kind of north of South Africa. And I was there for 3-4 months. And the idea was for us to go and do something. It was super unstructured. It was more like the university was like, go and try to help someone. And we were like, okay. So we arrived day one, and there was...
I love that something.
Do
something could be a cow in the town. Doesn't have to be a human.
Like fix a car or help a lady across the street. Do something. And we arrived and we joined this NGO called Indlovu. It was founded by this guy named Hugo Tempelman, actually Dutch. He moved there and then saw that there was, such a need to help the people there when it came to water, sanitation, hygiene, also mental health. And also under mental health, there was things like early child development. There was also disabilities, the lack of awareness there. So he sort of created this huge NGO with different departments that he hired local people for, which is also great because he also gave them a way for help as well. Mm-hmm. He hired or kind of helped local people in these specific areas so that they could pass on their knowledge as well to the local communities there. So it was just truly such an amazing, eye-opening experience because I live in the Netherlands and I'm from it's a very, very different world. And their mental health specifically is not, it's very different. More.
How is it different?
Here it's very individualistic. You go to mental health therapy with yourself, with a therapist, one-on-one sessions every week or so. There's a lot of group activity and group talk, and you are with your community because you're not alone. So I worked with a lot of, a few days a week I would be in the disability group. And there were a lot of kids there who had cerebral difficulties, learning difficulties, like a whole range of different disabilities. And they would do everything together. And there was this one group that was a bit more severe than the others. Like they had trouble speaking. They were running all over the place. It was very different. Mm-hmm. And the way to help kind of teach them motor skills, fine-tuning skills, was to have them sit down and do something as simple as beading. Beading, like making bracelets and necklaces. Like
what? I thought it was beating, like beating each other up.
Oh,
or something.
Not quite. Well, actually, a lot of that was happening because they're all friends as well, and they were like, and I was
physically
like,
attack each other.
I was like, don't do this. Yeah, they were very physical with each other, and we had to also teach them emotion regulation. Great way to teach them patience as well. Yeah. Teach them beading. There was something also to do with also sports and team building, and it sounds very simple. Mm-hmm. But true to these kids, at least, they didn't have structure, and at home it wasn't really understood why they were the way they were. So we're also and then some other people were doing education with the parents, so they could also familiarize with helping their kids at home. And it was a huge project and a great NGO that I really was appreciative that I was a part of.
Amazing. And did you, like, while you were there or once you got back, did you think like, but this is this one thing I want to bring to the Netherlands or to corporate life here or to clinical life here? Like one thing where you're like, this should happen here in Europe as well?
I think the collectivistic side of things there was so different, but so interesting. And I think here, I wouldn't say it's every man for himself, but it is very much, these are my problems and I will tell you about my problems when I feel like it. Yeah. To friends, therapists, family. And here's what I'm going to do to help myself. And for most, it works. That's why we have a whole therapy system here. Yeah. But I think, there are, of course, group therapies and group-oriented activities that people do, but I don't think it's as popular or used here in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
There was, I mean, people were just always together. They were not, you don't necessarily need to be friends, but there was just this sense of togetherness that I feel like isn't so present here. And I mean, I see it now. Like, I think there was this reel the other day I saw, like, have you seen those things where it's, oh, come to this cafe where we can detox, but we can be all together. Have you seen that? Like, let's lock away our phones.
No.
First of all, pay the entrance fee to get in.
Okay.
And then it's like 2 or 3 coffees included, and there's games, and everyone can be together. There's guitars, there's music, and everyone's just together. The concept is cool. I like it.
Yeah, it's a cool concept.
It's just a bit funny, like paying for it, and I mean, that's a different conversation. But that community vibe and community sense, I think, isn't so prominent here that I think we could learn from.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's actually what we said earlier, right?
Yeah.
This like feeling digital connectivity or actually community.
Mm-hmm.
No, I love your insights there, and it can be so refreshing, I think, to see other cultures and other ways of living, because, well, ultimately we are a very individualistic culture, but I think mental health is always a network of different factors.
Yeah.
And especially happening most of the time in your relationships, or has to do with lack of relationships or with something painful or of relationships. And so to also see that together, I think is very inspiring. So
and I think your problems and your issues also can, of course, affect you, but also the people you're close around as well. And you don't want that to happen, of course. Like, it's something you feel like you have to burden and deal with yourself. But oftentimes you can ask for help for people around you. And if you have people who care about you, which I hope everyone does, then they feel it as well. Like, there's that sense of like, someone I know is struggling. I want to help. How can I help? So I think if we try and make it a bit more, I mean, I'm not going to try to introduce like a whole new therapy way, but making it a bit more collectivistic and community oriented with a sense of togetherness, maybe doing more group therapies, and doesn't have to be huge groups, but smaller groups. So like, oh, I relate to you because this happened to me, this happened to me, this happened to me. Instead of a therapist who is mainly there not to even give their advice, but to help you, equip you with the tools you need to better yourself. You know, like you can't even, you shouldn't, and therapists will not tell you what to do. Whereas if you're with other people, it's like a collaborative effort, I think. It's like, I think there's different ways we can try and explore when it comes to therapy and all that.
Yeah, I like this. Thank you for sharing this.
Yeah.
So now with all your skills and experience and the stories you've heard, South Africa, AllEars, what is one thing you would tell your younger self when it comes to mental health or well-being in general?
Oh, when I was younger, I really thought I was so fine. I was like, there's nothing wrong with me. I'm gonna conquer the world. That's what I felt like. I'll be fine and I'll help my friends, of course. But I feel like I felt like I was super strong. I was very confident in myself. But I think that was just a facade, because I don't know who that person was. I think
who is this?
I think now I'm a lot more vulnerable with my feelings. If I need help, I'll go out and ask. But this was something I really struggled with when I was younger. Maybe it's just the way that I was brought up, the way I learned things, and I think it's a sense of safety if you believe that you're going to be fine all the time.
Yeah.
And I would go back and tell smaller me that, oh, Komay, it's going to be okay. It's going to be fine. Like, you can if you cry, like, it doesn't mean you're weak. If you ask for help, it doesn't mean that everyone's going to view you like, oh my God, she's so needy, you know? I think I need to stop being so hard on myself, and being vulnerable is actually being very strong. And not everyone to that. Yeah, and I think everyone has their own journey, and maybe some people asking for help doesn't necessarily come so naturally to them, and perceiving it also. So I think just be okay with the feelings that you have, and if you feel the need to reach out, that's also fine.
Yeah.
And you should.
Yeah.
Actually.
It's a strength to feel your emotions, and it's a strength to ask for help sometimes.
Yeah. And like, don't get me wrong, I still struggle with that nowadays. I'm a lot better now, but if there's something I can do, I'll probably try and do it myself before asking. But that's also, I'm fine with how I am now.
Yeah.
But maybe in 5 years, I'll be like, oh my God, who was she? So you never know.
And that's also to some extent okay. Sometimes you do want to fix it by yourself, but it's also okay to, or you should be honest to yourself when you need other people. I mean, that's ultimately what relationships are all about.
Yeah, that's why they're there. Use them. Use
use them. Use them.
They want to be used. Yeah.
I like this. Awesome. I think, well, Komay, I love our conversation. I think we're reaching the last question that I would like to ask you.
Yes.
And it's what, if there's one thing that you would like people out there to understand more about mental health in the 21st century, what would it be?
I think it's very good nowadays if you're on your phone, seeing all these reels and gaining clarity on your issues through other people's reels. Like in the sense, like you are getting, like I think we discussed, like the vocabulary to things like, oh, this person has all these symptoms. I'm kind of feeling the same. So maybe it could mean I'm burnt out. I think it's so good that it's expanding our knowledge in that, and people are so much more comfortable now speaking about mental health, and it's not this taboo thing anymore. I really love that. And it's, But I think one thing I'd really love for people to take away is don't drown yourself in those videos. And I think I really want to hone in on like the passive versus active measures taken to help yourself. There's a limit to how many videos we should be listening to. Like there's even videos about not looking at the videos. If you know, you know what I mean? Like, don't listen to those videos about mental. Like, there's videos about videos. Like, it's just a bit too complicated and complex nowadays. I would say, get the information that you need. Don't believe one single source either. Like, do your research as well. And if you need help, seek a therapist. Call something like AllEars. We're also there as well. Like, don't just be so absorbed in one thing when you can also be talking about it, doing something about it actively. I think.
I'm not going to comment on that. That was that was perfect. That was very lovely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Komay. Thank you so much for sharing this like deep and inspirational and honest conversation with me today. I think the world needs to hear that. So thank you for sharing all your insights and your personal thoughts. It was great to speak with you.
Thank you, Lucy, for having me. This was super nice. I think it's always good to talk about these things, because
for sure
there was a time when we never. So
exactly,
we've come so far.
Exactly. Well, amazing. And we hope that you at home feel inspired to care more, to listen more, to take more action towards mental health, be it in your institution, be it for yourself, be it for the people around you. And also to remind yourself it's okay to feel the emotions that you're feeling. It's okay to ask for help, for a listening ear. We're all together in this, and let's take some steps towards making this mental world a better world. Well, we would love for you to be engaged with us, so please leave any comments or questions that you might have to myself, to Komay, in the comments section. This is also possible on Spotify now, and we would like to invite you to subscribe to your favorite channel. You can find us under www.brainsfirst.com/podcast. And until the next time, stay healthy, stay happy, everyone. We'll see you next time on the Neurolympics podcast. Ciao, ciao.
Bye.